So, you may have heard the stereotype that metalheads are actually all just crazy Satanist murderers. And of course, if you're here in this channel, we got this recommended if you follow me, and you're probably not a murderer or like anything crazy like that. So yeah, it's often not true. People who listen to metal, just normal people after all. But what happens when we find the people that make this stereotype come to life, who are convicted criminals? This is CORNEA-SAL, and that was the topic of the video, so let's just go. So just to get this guy out of the way, because we all know he's coming, Varg Vikernes from Mayhem and Bursum. He got arrested for murder and arson. Murder of his former bandmate, Euronymous. Former because he died. Arson because he burned like 3 churches. These are like really bad, but I'm just so desensitized to it. Like, I've heard it so many times, and you probably are too, so let's just move on quickly. So then there's Tim Lambesis from As I Lay Dying. We've talked about this guy before too. He was arrested for soliciting murder. He had been separated from his wife, and she had took the 3 adopted kids that they had adopted together, but she had custody and she wouldn't let him see them. So he asked a personal trainer of his for help to get rid of her. He met a sheriff's deputy, basically acting as a hitman, and he gave him £1,000 along with his wife's address and front door security code. They met at a bookshop, and basically Tim said that he wanted his wife gone. He asked directly if he wanted his wife killed, and he said, yes, I do. So that set the nail in the coffin. That's crazy. And he also had allegations. He wasn't arrested for this, but I think it's worth mentioning that he also had a video of him go viral where he was basically beating the shit out of his dog. So yeah, there you go. That's Tim for you. Then we have Randy Blythe from Lamb of God. He got sentenced for manslaughter. So he was chanting "come on" in between songs, which basically was so the audience would clap. This guy called Nosak, he tried to climb the stage and he was pushed away by the singer, falling on his head, and after several weeks in the hospital, he died. It was an accident. He was acquitted in 2013, but he only spent a month in prison before the trial. So this wasn't a first time for him, but this took a really tragic turn. Then we have Judd from Nachtmystium. This is all rooted in his addiction to heroin. Okay, so first of all, and this important one, kind of shitty though still, he stole and pawned his roommate's guitar to buy more heroin. And then basically people were buying from him on Facebook, like album stuff, merchandising. They weren't getting the stuff that they asked for. Eventually people started complaining that they weren't getting the stuff they bought. What happened is that he was taking money from his fans, and he was actually just pocketing the money to buy drugs. He had also stolen or asked for money and not given back to the people he knew. He went through multiple arrests, but in 2024 he did an interview, and apparently he has been out of drugs for a really long time. Congrats to him. Then notably, Ronnie Radke from Falling in Reverse. We've talked about him. I have a whole video on him. If you want to see this more in depth, go see the video. But in summary, first of all, in 2006, Ronnie was involved in this basically like kind of gang fight that started all over a MySpace comment, and he was basically involved in the fight. Someone died during the fight, and he wasn't sentenced for murder. He was sentenced for battery, and then failing to report to his parole officer. So basically he was on parole in like 2008 or something, and he wouldn't go back to check in. So one wonders what people have in their head nowadays. Then in 2012, the super famous mic stand incident. He basically threw mic stands at the crowd, and people were injured. No one died, but he did go to jail. Then he has had allegations for domestic abuse and, well, yeah, a lot of stuff, but nothing fully proven, because, for example, the domestic abuse case, he won it and was found not guilty. So yeah, well, we'll never know exactly what happened, but he does have a pretty shitty record. We also have Infernus from Gorgoroth, who was accused of raping a woman for hours on end with a friend at an after party at his apartment. There's not that much information on this one that I could find easily. The thing is that in the end it was considered gross negligent rape, which means that apparently he didn't know that she was not consenting, but he could have realized if he really asked and checked out what was going on with her, you know. He was only sentenced to 1 year in prison. Continuing, in 97, I don't know if I'm gonna say this right, Jon Nödtveidt, Blythe were arrested in Sweden. This guy is from dissection. They were part of a satanic group, the Misanthropic Luciferian Order. Police found satanic altars and a human skull. At his home, there was supposedly a murder plan made, which included his former bandmates and his own girlfriend. They wanted to do human sacrifices and basically a mass suicide, which the little people that were in his organization did not really want to do. They were finally arrested for murdering someone, Joseph Ben Medor, who was openly gay, and the police saying that it was a hate crime, that they aren't sure, but they believe that it's a human sacrifice that they wanted to do. Blythe killed him, and then Nödtveidt was sentenced to 8 years in prison for being an accessory to murder. They actually ended up serving both 7 years, and then Nödtveidt died by suicide a few years later in a ritualistic setting. That's all I wanted to show you. This was CORNEA-SAL, and yeah, don't kill anyone. Don't put anyone in a ritualistic setting after you kill them. Specifically, if you're gonna kill someone, yeah, don't do that. Try not to do that. Try not to push anyone too hard, even if it's really funny or you're really mad, because then maybe they die, and then a month later you're at prison and you don't know if big guy number 1 or big guy number 2 is going to try and rape you today. That was all, and I'll see you.